module 5. Okay, so welcome and welcome to our module 5. And in this module, we are going to um, look into the roles of a BA in the software development life cycle. And in this module, you will start your project. And basically, your project, you have to turn it in within 10 business days. By now, you should have received a Jira invite. Um, and I will go through I'll go through Jira. If we have time today, we can start looking to, everybody understanding Jira tool. But module 6, actually, that's where I kind of dedicate time. I'm going to dedicate some time to, do more of training on tools that you guys be using. We look into Figma. Figma is a very, very robust, right? If you guys can learn Figma, it's really good. It's advanced tool that everybody's using now. So I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want you guys to know the bare minimum, right? I really want you guys to know the advanced tool. I know it's like kind of a little bit challenging, but it's better you guys know it, right? Visio, Lucy Chat, those are good. But if you know Figma, kind of helps you. You have all the inform all the modules of Figma kind of help you to kind of understand um how you can be able to design in more advanced way. All right, so let's dive in. Um, so we started this journey with a lot of information, and basically this module will help you, to kind of understand your role in the SDLC. Um, so um, you can get an interview question like, can you walk us through the roles of the BA in the software development life cycle? Now, let me give you answer to this before we deep dive. Business analysts, or they can say, well, in the past, what have been your roles? What have been your role or responsibility in the software development life cycle? My role during the initiation phase, I kind of make sure that I help the business to come up with the business case, and also work with the key folks to kind of help them to prepare the business case so they can be able to make a decision if they want to embark on that project or not. Then after that, if they want to embark on it, then I also during the requirement analysis phase, my role is to ensure that I gather the requirement, document the requirement, prioritize the requirement, work with engineers to ensure that they understand the requirement and it's durable for the to implement the solution. Then in the design phase, my role is to ensure that the design team understand the requirements. They can be able to build a robust design view that will help the business, that will meet the needs of the business. Then in the development phase, my role is to ensure that I provide communication to my engineers so that they can be able to understand what they need to implement, so we can be able to meet the business needs. And during the development phase, if there is any questions or clarifications needed by me, uh, by me from my engineers, my role is to ensure that I provide them an accurate, detailed information so that we can be able to execute the requirement given by me. And in the testing phase, after the requirement has been implemented by my engineers, my role in the testing phase is to ensure that I work with my QAs, my testers, and the first thing first is for me to review the test cases, the test script, if that test script aligns with my requirements. And also my role is to also ensure that there's a UAT section being scheduled with my customers so that they can test and validate all the requirements before the sign off. And after everything looks good, my role before we deploy is to ensure that I get a sign off from all our customers to ensure that the requirement has been validated, that it looks good, and that we deploy. And in deployment, which is a post implementation, my role is to ensure that I stabilize the solution in production so that we can have a less or fewer incidents in production. So I think this feedback I just gave is 5 minutes less than 2-3 minutes, right? So that is your role in the SDLC. Now, you can get this question during the interview. So, um, everything that I've been talking about, I've been teaching you guys, is to fall under the life cycle of SDLC, software development life cycle. So BA, they play a very, very crucial role throughout the software development lifecycle. Every stages, they ensure that so there is an outcome. So everything. After that outcome, you move to the next phase. After requirement has been completed, you move to the next phase, which is design. After design has been completed, you move to development, where you kind of start working with your agile team, making sure that they understand what they need to implement and all that stuff, right? So I really want to give you a quick overview of the key roles they undertake within the software development life cycle, so we can all look at it together. It's a kind of a long list here, right? So throughout the SDLC, we talked about the initiation phase, right? The initiation phase right here, you collaborate with the stakeholders to identify the business need and define the project scope. So your business, they kind of understand their needs, right? You now help them to define the scope.
Excuse
You
me, can you
translate.
please help us with zoom a little bit?
Okay. Is
Okay.
it okay like this?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. hmm So so they have their requirement already, which is the business requirement. Now you identify their needs and you kind of refine it in a way that the engineers will understand. So what exactly is your responsibility during the initiation phase? This is your responsibility. You conduct a feasibility study, align a business objective, establish the initial requirement. Your initial requirement, example, the table I just gave to you, right? After you already translated the requirement, you put it on the table format, right? And you said, okay, requirement 1.1, this edit, you implement edit, functional, non-functional, right? Or you want to put a user story there, you want to go further. Now, your initial requirement is the requirement that you already translated, right? So basically, you're looking at this, you're like, okay, it's now my requirements. So by the time you start giving the engineers, you put in a user story, right? You already put it in a more detailed one. Initial requirement, your business requirement is high level. Your requirement is a low level, right? Now, on the requirement analysis phase, you act as a bridge between the stakeholders and development team. Now, what's your responsibility? You analyze, you elicit, you document, you detail requirement, you create use cases, you create user stories, functional specifications. You do all this stuff. Just like example I just gave earlier. In design phase, you provide insight into the design, process based on business requirements. So what exactly is your role during design phase? You review, revalidate the design document, you take it back to your business, you show them, okay, this is the requirement. I mean, this is the design, what they think. You ensure that alignment with the specified business need and requirements. So you want to make sure that there's alignment between you, your business, and your design team. So you're kind of you know, the middleman between these all these parties, right? And implementation support. Your role, you support developers by clarifying requirement, addressing queries. So basically, here you're looking at you are part of the Scrum team, Agile Scrum team. Every day you join the call. If there's any new requirements that you want them to do, or maybe in the next sprint, you just give them an update. Well, we have a new requirement. This is tied to revenue of the organization. I'll be bringing this up probably in the next sprint, but we can start reviewing the requirement during our next pre-grooming or grooming section. The grooming section basically is just a ceremony where engineers, QAs, product managers, they come in, they kind of review requirement, and engineers give their feedback. If it's something they want to do, if the requirement is complete, like design is there, requirement, user story is there, description is there, and they understand, they say, okay, yeah, we can do it. Yeah, okay. And, they put a point to it and they put it in the backlog, right? And they get it ready, right? So you see yourself during this phase. This is where the implementation phase, right? You collaborate with the development team during the coding phase, you verify the implemented features meet the specified requirement. And after the requirement has been implemented, they kind of demonstrate what they've implemented based on your requirement, right? Now, the testing phase basically, this is where verify that the delivered product aligns with the business requirement. What's your responsibility? You assist in creation of test cases, conduct and facilitate user acceptance testing, address any discrepancy between the expected and actual outcome. So basically, testing phase is like you don't get me wrong, you can find yourself as a tester, in any project, but you have to get ready, and you can find yourself as you working along with the keyways, right? And that's the reason why you need to make sure you understand what is exactly this test case, what's test script, right? A test case or test script, this is basically an instructions or list of instructions that's telling the user how to test a scenario or how to test a functionality. For example, if you want the user to test a particular, maybe a login page, how do you tell the user to test that login page? So the first thing first is step one is you need to get a correct URL. Copy and paste that URL in your web browser and make sure that that URL is working and it shows you the login page. That's a pass. If that login page did not show, it's a fail. User cannot be able to continue to test. The step two is when the login page appeared, right? The step two is get your key in your username and password, your correct credentials, and click button. The expected result is the login should take you to your account page. When you land on the account page, that is the expected result. So what is the actual and what is the expected? So the actual is the current state, the expected is the future state. So now when it comes to test cases, right, you're looking at the expected, what you expect to see, right? So if you do not get that, right, that's the actual. So basically, let me back up a little bit. Let's say on the step one, you entered or you copy and paste the URL. The expected is you should see a login page that will ask you to enter your username and password. But let's say when after you copy and paste the URL, it didn't show you a login page or it didn't show you a login where you're gonna enter your username and password. That is the actual. That is wrong. You should see an expectation of is asking for username and password, right? So we will go through all this. As a BA, you need to understand all this stuff. And the next one is deployment phase. Implement phase ensure a smooth transition from development to production. And your responsibility is to validate that the deployment solution meet the business need, support stakeholders during this initiation stages of implementation. So basically here, your role is to ensure that there's what we call a phase rollout. In the software world, by the time we want to push out a new build, a new product or a new technology solution, um, the BA kind of work hand in hand with the product team, a product manager, and what he or she is going to do is to ensure that there's a smooth transition. For example, the code base that they use, is this a customer that you have to provide them the code base? Is this something that you have to make sure that the code base is transferred, or is being moved to a safe environment? So there's going to be a lot of transaction. Like, okay, what I mean transactional activities is the BA need to kind of fill out some information like a change management. Okay, we're about to deploy this change to production. It needs to fill out some paperwork or maybe join the maybe meeting change management meeting that okay, everything has been completed. We have built the solution. The deployment time is in the next 3 weeks, maybe March 2nd, and all requirement has been completed as expected. The UAT has been completed as expected. Now the next thing we are ready to deploy this. This is a very big win for you, your first project. And they say, okay, so who is the project manager? Oh, this so is the project manager. I'm the BA. So okay, and can you sign off this? Yes, and that's it. So now you are making sure that you support stakeholder during the initial stage of the implementation. There's a little bit of paperwork that needs to be done, right? And also probably meetings, right? Now, during the post-implementation phase, so you want to monitor and assess the solution performance and user satisfaction. So in every project we ship out, we build or we deploy to production, we have what we call a KPIs, key performance indicators. We want to make sure that okay, by the time after we deploy this, in case if there's any issues, we want to stabilize the product, right? We want to make sure we get feedback, address issues, initiate improvement as necessary, and also have a document lesson learned for future project, right? So all these are something that you have to also have in mind, you know, because if you are not trained, you'll be able to understand all this. We call it a stabilization period. So, if you want to tell, maybe by the time you get a job and they ask you, okay, after you deploy your project in production, how are you going to maintain your product in production? Well, you say, well, probably I'm going to establish what I call a 3-month stabilization process. So to stabilize the product in production. Because look at it from this angle. When in the software world, when you build a new product and you ship it out, there's no way out. There must be an issue in production. maybe because number one, maybe they don't understand the product very well, or maybe they kind of make a mistake about something, right? So we get feedback, we address issues. So that is your role and responsibilities in the software development life cycle. And there's a continuation to this though. So we're going to deep dive more on this because this is something that we're definitely going to start interacting now. So moving on, we ask you questions, and I really want to gain. I want to make sure that you guys understand this. So in initiation phase, right? Can somebody tell me, apart from helping business to come up with a business case, what are the other responsibilities or roles of a BA in initiation phase? Can somebody tell me? I mean, we have it here. You can summarize what I put here. If you want to, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I'll take silence as no problem. Then no, we don't have any feedback. So, apart from you know responsibility, apart from visibility studies or aligning business objective, establish the initial set of requirements. So, um, Precious, if you remember, you asked me a question earlier about what are the preconditions. My feedback is it based on precondition to your approach, which, as I said, yes.
Mhm.
So this is a phase where you kind of come up with your own approach, decision phase. Come up with your approach, how you're gonna manage the project, right?
Mhm.
So during this phase, you wanna do a lot of visibility studies, benchmarking, right? So let's say the product you guys want to do, you have other companies that they kind of do the same thing, right? You want to do benchmarking, compare that, okay, compare to other companies, how they do it, and kind of copy them or maybe gain something out of them. Visibility study, you also so aligning business objective and establish the initial set of requirement. You want to come up with something like unique during this decision phase. During this phase, you setting your approach. You kind of make sure that how do you want to how can I support this project, right? And don't and make sure that you understand the project scope, high level, what's why they trying to embark on this project. So the primary aim is to set a solid foundation for the project by clearly understanding its purpose, goals, and potential challenge. The outcome of these initiation phase serve as a guiding framework for the subsequent stage of the project life cycle. So which kind of answer your question earlier, right? Um, if you understand the frame, if you understand the purpose and the goal is help you move on to this guy right here, which we're going to talk about next.